you are in the human capital business, given that you're, I'm sure buildings, in fact, our building uses G4S as well, our corporate office. But tell us a little bit about what are the challenges that you're facing. And we know it's retention, recruiting, all of that, but specifically for G4S's business, how is that impacting your all's business?
Yeah, so and I'll keep this to the U.S. business right now, in our manned guarding, our security business, which is our largest business in the U.S. We have about 45,000 employees across the U.S. And we in G4S in the manned guarding business, we work on contracts with customers. So what does that mean? It means that we sign a contract. They're typically 3 years long. They typically have a specific wage for a specific job that's inside of that contract. And what we find ourselves in more today than any time previously is that the wage compression that we see now against our margin is really, really challenging for our business. What do I mean by that? We have many of our contracts that are in the $10 to $13 an hour range for our security officers. You see what Amazon's doing at $15 an hour. You see what's happened in many other markets across the U.S. And we have two options in that situation. One is to go to the customer and say, hey, Mr. Customer, would you please give us some more money on the thing that we agreed that we would do for you?
And that works often,
for that 3 year. It's a very challenging conversation. It's a very challenging conversation because our customers are experiencing the same thing, but they have the same challenges. So I'm going to give you some of the hard-earned money that I'm trying to figure out how to make on my own. So it's a very, very challenging thing to do. The second thing we can do is go ahead and decide to increase wages for those specific jobs within those markets where we need, because our number one objective is to service that contract the way we committed we were going to do it, with a quality service, with meeting the SLAs and meeting the customer's expectations. And those customers' expectations are written specifically into those contracts. You will do these things these many times at this level of performance. And that is paramount to us. So what do? We have to give up some of our margin in order to get wages where we need them in order to meet the qualifications that we committed to as an organization to our customers, because that is ultimately the most important thing for us. So once we do that, what does that mean to our organization? We fall into that all three of those buckets actually that you put up before, but when your labor is such a big cost of goods for us, we have to figure out what else are we going to do to try to control our costs. Well, this labor market is also doing one other thing to us. It's increasing our turnover pretty significantly. And because our turnover has gone up, we were traditionally in the 40% turnover range. We're running about 73% annual turnover right now. Over the last 18 months, it's gone that high. Many of you probably have experienced the same thing with your frontline employees. But in addition to that, our cost associated with going to recruit and to hire people outside of the need to do it because we have more people we have to do it now, but I'm talking about just the static money that we have to spend is up 43% also, because we have to deploy new ways and new things. We do have artificial intelligence, which we brought to bear. We're spending more money with Indeed than we ever have before. I mean, I'm probably singing the same song that you guys are all experiencing. So that's the situation that we find ourselves in the organization, which means you have to figure out other ways to extract cost. So we've done that inside of G4S for the last 18 months, is figure out other ways to extract cost so we can still produce the profit that's expected of our shareholders.
Geoff, give us a little bit of a sense, and maybe we'll also take some questions from the audience, but give us a sense, here you are, member of the management team. What was the conversation like with your CEO, CFO? Hey, I think we have this way, we got this crazy idea. Give us a sense of kind of their receptivity to your work that you kind of figured out here.
So we've pushed a whole bunch of buttons on the retention strategy, as you can imagine. I'm sure many of you are doing the same things, trying all kinds of different things. We went back, we do our biannual survey every year to our employees across almost 600,000 employees across the globe. And we went back and we dug into the meat of that survey. And inside of that survey in the US, we found that there were a lot of people that were not only talking about wanting to make more money, but that they wish they had ways to get to that money more frequently than we were paying them. Most of our employees are paid on a bi-weekly basis. And that was sort of an interesting comment that we had never really dug out of the comments before. And so we started to explore, is there actually a way to do that? Because in our world, people leave our organization to go make 50 cents an hour more somewhere else. So if I'm paying you bi-weekly and I'm going somewhere else that's paying bi-weekly, there's really just one pay cycle that they have to deal with. So it's not really an encumbrance for somebody to decide to leave for 50 cents more an hour. So anyway, so the conversations went something like this, which is, if we can figure out a way to pay employees daily It'll be a differentiator in the marketplace against our competitors. We should have an ability to make it much more attractive for employees to stay with us. If I know I can get paid tomorrow the money that I earned yesterday, rather than having to wait 3 or 4 weeks if I decide to change, that's a meaningful difference now. And so the other part of the conversation that we had was, how can we make this happen? So we went to our traditional ADP, which is our payroll processor in the US, and they had no solution for us. We could do the same thing that you put up on the board. I was laughing. They said, you can process payroll every day if you want, but there's going to this fee and that fee. And our payroll department said, hell no, no, don't even go there. So we started to explore some other smaller organizations, of which DailyPay was one of the 3 of them that we ended up exploring. And we ended up meeting with all of them. We ended up selecting DailyPay, mostly for some of the reasons that you put up there, but it doesn't touch our cash. That's a big differentiator between what some of the other competitors are doing. So we run our payroll just like we always have. But now employees can access their money because it's tapped into our time system. So the time system creates a bank. Every day they get a feed. It creates a bank. It shows up on their phones just like they showed, and employees use it. It's amazing. We've rolled it out. We're 4 months in now to the rollout.
I think we're only about a month.
Yeah, 4 months into starting. We're 6 weeks into the full rollout.
That's right.
And we have already had 21% adoption. It's amazing. 21% of our 45,000 employees have adopted DailyPay. That shows you that we tapped into something that is really going to be meaningful. The other thing, and I haven't shared this with any of you all yet, but I had some team do some analysis on the early turnover numbers. And I got rid of the first month, but the first 2 months of the full rollout for the 8 pilot locations, we've seen a 41% reduction.
No, you haven't.
I swear. Your number was 41%. I saw it. It's actually 41.6. So if you want to say it's 42,
that's amazing.
It's 42.
Well, there we go. The consistency of the experience.
That's amazing.
Okay, they're about to kick us out here, but
anyway.
I think. What's that? So I think the folks would like us to end, but maybe we can do the following, which is have folks come up, because I think we can try to wrap it up, and maybe folks can, if they have questions, we can just kind of answer them here. Yeah, I think they're kicking us out here.